y'all, and welcome to the Crazy Sock Lady YouTube channel. My name is Kayla and this is my channel where I share all about my making adventures. Today I have so much knitting to share with you. It has been a couple of weeks. I took a few weeks off of recording for the holidays. It was so nice, such a good holiday season. I hope that y'all had a good holiday season as well, that you got a lot of making done. So yeah, there's a lot to share today. This is episode 260. It is January 10th, Friday, January 10th at 10:36 a.m. I do have my stats from 2024. I have my notebook and we're gonna go over how many finished objects I have and all of that. So we're gonna do that today. A ton of finished objects, a lot of which I do not have here to show you, so I will be putting in a lot of pictures. And then I do have, I think, 4 works in progress, it looks like. 2 blankets, a scarf, and a pair of socks to show you. So I hope you've got something to sip on. I've got some iced coffee today. I had some errands to run this morning, so I stopped and got an iced coffee from Dunkin'. And yeah, something to sip on, something to work on, and you are ready to catch up because it might be a long one today. So you may notice first there's a little bit of a difference. Well, I guess first I should say you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry. It's been a while. I'm a little rusty. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as the Crazy Sock Lady. And I will have links right down below this video in the description box for everywhere that you can find me, as well as links to project pages for everything that I will show you, shops that I talk about. All of that's going to be right down there for you. But when I started to say, you might notice the room looks a little bit different behind me. I did take some time in that 2 weeks and reorganize, rearrange. Eric finished up refinishing this beautiful cabinet for me. It does pull down like a secretary desk and it is so beautiful. He did such a good job. We found this at an antique / thrift shop and we kept an eye on it for a while because it had a lot of water damage, and then they dropped the price and we grabbed it and he's been working on it for many months and I love how it turned out so much. So I have went through and rearranged some of my yarn and the room, shifted the bed down. So I've got this cabinet back here. It's like a cabinet on the bottom, shelves on the top. It used to be right over here by my desk. So I've got it moved back there now. I've got all of my like Knit Pick, Stroll, Regia and Opal, and this is just some yarn that's already caked up, some bare undyed yarn. I can't remember off the top of my head what is all on this bottom shelf. But then there's just some more yarn, of course, and my English paper piecing stuff is in this cabinet. I have in the bottom drawer all of my advents, leftovers for advents, which is one of my goals this year, is to use some of those up. So those are all sorted out and in there. I still have all the yarn over here. So these cabinets did not go anywhere. They did not move. I kind of was tempted to completely rearrange the room, but it is so much work to empty those cabinets out and move them that I was like, nope, we're not doing that today. But yeah, I went through, purged some things, gifted some things, donated some things. It was such a good feeling and such a great way I wrapped that up before the first of the year. So like I felt like I started the year just fresh in this room and it felt really, really nice. I finished all of my sock whips before the end of the year. I finished the last pair that I had on my needles on the last day of December and that felt great as well. I don't know if I've ever done that, ever cleared my sock needles off before the first of the year. Maybe I have, but I don't know, it felt really nice to know I was not carrying any sock whips over. I of course carried other whips over. Wyatt's scarf that you'll see in a bit and all of my Scrappy blankets. But it felt good to not be carrying sock whips over and to be starting the year fresh. So let's go ahead and talk finished objects while we are on that note. I have a list here and I don't have all of them here to show you. So I'm going to be putting some pictures in. I will show you the ones I have, but quite a few have already been gifted. So I think all of these are in the order that I completed them in. So we'll go through the ones from 2024 that I finished since the last time I recorded. Then I will go over my 2024 stats, and then we'll go into finished objects since 2025, because I have already finished a few things. But, oh gosh, dropping things. I just picked that up and then dropped it again. I think we're just gonna leave that there for now. I don't need it. All right, so I will say there's a lot of finished objects. There's been a lot of making, but it's been a lot of time for that. I really wanted this holiday season, this whole December, to be about me slowing down, enjoying time with my kids, with my husband, not feeling rushed and like I had to do Vlogmas. Like, that's why I took a break from that, which if you did not watch the Vlogmas on Instagram, I did save highlights for that. But so there was a lot more making time, I feel like, than I would even normally have, because I really made that conscious effort to slow down. So there's a lot. All right, we're just gonna dive right in. Let's see. The first thing on the finished object list is a pair of socks for my husband, Eric. These were out of some leftover yarn. Oh, I am just remembering I have all of the labels here because I did not write things down. Let me grab all of these. Okay, this was out of some leftover yarn that I had made a pair of socks for myself in 2023. And then I had set this yarn aside to make socks for him and never did it. So I finally got those done. This was yarn ink, and I think this was from the main skein. The main skein was sleigh bells. I don't have the tag for the minis, but I think it was a Grinch themed mini set. And all of the socks, I think, if one pops up that's anything different, but I think they were all vanilla socks on 9-inch circulars. Almost positive. Well, there's one on DPNs, but that's in, we'll get to that later. But vanilla socks, 9-inch circulars, all notes for any like row counts or round counts, anything is going to be on the Ravelry project page for that. So this was pair 88 for 2024. I started them on December 14th and finished them on December 20th. The next thing that I finished was Eric's Doctor Who scarf. I did get that done in time to gift him for Christmas. He knew he was getting it, so it wasn't a surprise, but I was still happy that I was able to finish that by Christmas. I put it in a bag and he opened it Christmas Day and it was great. So this I used Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Sport Weight. I have all of the colors listed on the Ravelry project page. I have 2 links on the Ravelry project page, and it's kind of what I loosely followed for the scarf. He wanted a Doctor Who scarf from the show Doctor Who, if you're not familiar. It's a scarf that one of the doctors wears. He wanted different colors though, and he didn't want it as long. So he picked out the colors, and then I loosely followed for how many rows to do for each stripe, and I just kept making him try it on until he said, okay, that's long enough. That's a good length. So it wasn't quite as long as the original in the show. This I started on November 21st and finished it on December 24th. The next pair, it was an old Yarnable skein. Was a Christmas one from years ago, and I gifted these to my son Wyatt, and it was pair 89 for 2024, and I started those on December 19th and finished them on December 25th. And those I gave to him like after I finished them as a Christmas gift on December 25th on Christmas Day. All right, this one I do have here to show you. This is a pair. The yarn is Vesper Sock Yarn by Knitterly Things. The color is It Smells Like, or just Smells Like Christmas, not It Smells Like Christmas. Smells Like Christmas. And then I did have a red mini that is Wonder Woman Red. I don't know if that's gonna focus, but I had a mini, same yarn that went with it. And here are these. Oh, those are so pretty. I can't wait to wear these. These are for sure for me. I love them so much. So this was pair 80, or no, sorry. This was pair 90 for the year. And I started them on December 13th and finished them on December 28th. The next thing I finished is the Leap of Faith sock set. It is The Savior is Born. And it was a sock set. This was the main skein, and then it had the yellow mini, so I used that for the heel and toe. These are also for me because I love them. I made a few of these for me. And this was pair 91, and I started these on December 25th and finished them on December 29th. I really wanted these to be a Christmas cast on. It was such a beautiful, beautiful sock set, and it came with a beautiful bag that had the nativity on it, and it was a great Christmas cast on. This was also a Christmas cast on, and this is 3 by the Sea. So many labels here. 3 by the Sea. They're Night Divine. And this is in the sparkle base. It is their Amelia Silver base. 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% silver stellina. I don't know that the camera will pick it up, but oh, it's beautiful. These are also for me. This was pair 92, and I finished these, or I started them on December 25th, finished them on December 31st. So this was the last finished pair for 2024. So I did 92 pairs of socks in 2024. Some were for my nieces, so they were kids socks, all different sizes for different people. I kept some, I gifted quite a lot of them. Definitely the most I've ever knit of socks in a year, for sure. I did not have a goal. I don't do that kind of stuff with my knitting as far as like, I'm gonna knit 100 pairs of socks this year. I heard that so much last year. Are you gonna try for 100? No, that for me would take the fun out of it as soon as it puts that pressure on myself. That's just not for me. So I did not do that last year. Just whatever I wanted to work on, I worked on, and it was obviously quite a lot of socks. I will say I knit socks all the time, obviously, because I did 92, but I always get asked how I got so many done or how I get so much done knitting wise. I quite literally do it every second that I can. If I'm doing my Bible study time, you'll see on Instagram, I post a lot throughout the day when I'm getting my knitting done. I do it during my Bible study time in the morning, most mornings. I walk for an hour on the treadmill every single day. So that time I usually spend the whole hour knitting. Sometimes I'll be answering messages or comments or chatting with a friend on my phone, but usually that whole hour is spent knitting. And then my knitting is just broken up throughout the day in little chunks. Usually in the evening, if we watch some TV, I will knit for that hour or whatever it ends up being that we're watching TV. If I am in the car with my husband, he is always driving, so I am always knitting. If I'm waiting for dinner to get done, I'm knitting. I really just squeeze it in. I take it with me everywhere. If I'm waiting in an appointment or something, I'm knitting. We were at a car dealership. When was that? November? Early December? I don't remember now, but I was knitting while we were at the car dealership. So yeah, I just squeeze it in every second that I can. Even if it's just a round or two, it does add up. And I also am a fast knitter, and I am lucky enough that this is my job. Like, this is financially how I can help out with my family, is through Crazy Sock Lady. So that does give me more time to knit. But okay, 2024 stats. I feel like I've went over that quite a few times, but I still always get so many questions about how I get so much knitting done. All right, 2024 24 stats. So like I said, I did 92 pairs of socks, 12 hats, 5 blankets, 2 sweaters, 1 cup cozy, just right here, 26 bookmarks, 1 cowl, 3 pot holders, 11 dishcloths, and 1 scarf. And then I did keep track of how many cozy memory squares I did. So I did 70 fingering weight cozy memory squares and 100 DK weight cozy memory squares. So my total knit finished objects was 134. My total crochet finished objects was 13. And I think that's it. So I've started tracking for this year. I'm going to try to be even better about tracking for this year as far as grams in, grams out, all of that kind of stuff. But I did track finished objects for the year, so there are those. All right, now I have a couple more finished objects, but these are from this year, 2025. So I finished a pair of socks for a friend that I go to church with, and I've already given those to her, but I will put a picture up here. This yarn is by Granite State Yarns. It is a club yarn from September of 2024. And that was the first pair for the year, and I started those on January 1st and finished those on January 4th. Those went very quick. I think that it was I can't remember now off the top of my head what shoe size, but she's a very small shoe size, so those went so quickly. And when I finished those, it was a Saturday, and I was like, I've got some extra time today. I saw one of the ladies in the Crazy Sock Lady membership is doing little stocking ornaments for an Advent for her grandkids, I believe. And I was like, I am going to make one of those. So I took my leftovers, some of them, and I made a little stocking ornament. This I somewhat followed. I'll go over the changes I made. The Tiny Toes mini stockings pattern. I did not write down who it was by, but I do have it linked on the Ravelry project page. So I followed it except for the heel. It has a short row heel, and I started to do that, and I just do not enjoy doing short rows. As far as it had like the double stitch and all of that. So I just did a heel flap. That's what I did. And then I did an I-cord. I don't think it has you do an I-cord. I feel like it has you braid for the loop. But I did an I-cord. And then I also used a US 1 2.25 millimeter needle instead of what the pattern calls for. So I feel like mine probably came out a little smaller, but I think it's still cute. So that was fun to do. I have no clue what I'm going to do with these, but I might make some more this year, or maybe I won't. Maybe this will be a one-time thing. But it was fun to do, and it didn't take very long at all. The next thing that I finished is a pair of socks that I do not have. They were for a friend of Wyatt's, and he has already given them to her. So I will put that picture up here. This was Area 51 fibers. The colorway is it smells like fall. And then for the cuff heel and part of the foot and the toe, I used just a bare undyed yarn that I am pretty sure I got from Wool to Dye For. So I will link them down below as well. It's like you have to buy in bulk. They sell, I don't remember how many skeins in a pack, but I bought a pack of that yarn a while back. This was pair 2 for the year. I started those on January 4th and finished them on January 8th. For those, the Area 51, the self-striping, it was a 50-gram skein of yarn. And I told Wyatt that I would try it. That's what he picked. Because I said, come pick out this yarn for this pair of socks. And that's what he picked. I said, we're going to try it. I don't know how this is going to go. Because she wears a larger shoe size than I do. So I was kind of playing a guessing game with how long to do the leg. and I obviously ran out of yarn. If you can see there's white finishing off the foot, but I did not have enough of the repeat. If I would have done like 10 rounds less on each leg, I would have been fine. So I know now going forward, when it comes to using those, definitely do cuff, heel, and toe in a different color, and do shorty socks would be the best thing to do. But I don't wear a lot of shorty socks. So, I don't know. I don't mind that I had to finish off with the white and then do the toe and the white as well. That didn't bother me at all. I was just concerned that the recipient would not like them that way, but Wyatt said that she liked them. So hopefully, hopefully she really does. But yes, I just finished off with the white. I used up all of the yarn until I had like just enough to put a square in my Cozy Memories blanket, but it wasn't enough to do any more, like as far as like making them match. They would have been mismatched if I would have split what was left of the yarn. Don't know if that's making sense, but I wanted them to end on the same color. So I did that and had just a smidge left from one sock. That, I think, I already said that was pair 2. The last finished object, this is the last one. I did a pair of DK socks. So when I rearranged my stuff in here and did some organizing, I still have a few skeins of yarn that's caked up. And I thought, I've been saying for forever, you're going to use this yarn first and focus on using that up. So that's still what I'm trying to do. One of my works in progress is from that yarn as well. And this was one of them. This is by Mountain State Stitches. The colorway is Spark. It's a DK weight sock set. So I did some DK socks. It's been a while since I did DK socks, but I wore a few of them recently because we've had snow. I didn't even talk about that. We've had so much snow and I love it so much. Snow, winter, I love it. But yes, it's been cold. So I've used some of my DK socks and they're so warm and toasty. And I had some on the other day when I was shoveling some of the driveway, and yeah, so I'm like, I need more DK socks. That's something I really don't have. I have a lot of socks, but I don't have a lot of DK weight socks. But yeah, it's been a wild week with the snow because the kids were supposed to go back to school and then they had snow days, 2-hour delays. Eric's had a snow day and he had a day off work. Like, it's been a wild week. All good. Like, it's been great having everyone home a little while longer, but it's just been a wild week. So for these, I did my vanilla socks, my DK weight vanilla socks. I can never remember the name of that. DK weight vanilla socks, I'm pretty sure is what it is. And I did these on DPNs. I already put them up, but I used some ChiaoGoo bamboo DPNs. US 3, I believe, is what I used for these. And just followed my vanilla socks for DK weight. Just getting very blown out. We still have so much snow on the ground outside, and we're supposed to get so much today. Or not so much today. That came out weird. But we're supposed to get some more today, I think is what I was going for there. So everything's a little bright and blown out with how bright it is outside with the snow. Okay, that was pair 3. I started those on, that's not right. Is that right? Did I start those on January 1st? Let's double check. Maybe I did, but I didn't think I started those on the 1st. No, that's what I have on here, so that must be when I started them. Started those on January 1st and finished them on January 10th today, before I recorded. Technically, I mean, I finished the knitting last night, but I Kitchenered the toe and wove in all the ends today on the second sock. All right, that's a lot of finished objects, huh? A lot of them. Now, works in progress. I have a pair of socks I'm working on for Wyatt. It's in a bag from Mountain State Stitches. And this is more yarn that I had caked up. You guys are gonna recognize this yarn, and this is the last skein of this yarn. This is the Fuse Fiber Studio Shelter colorway. I do not think that they are in business any longer. Almost positive they're not. But I bought this years ago. I was gonna say the last time I went to New York for the New York Sheep and Wool Festival, but I think it was the year before that. So I've had this for so long, and I bought a sweater's quantity of it. And I started a sweater, didn't like it, decided I didn't want to do a sweater with it. So I've just been using it up. I made a muscle bra hat. I've made DK socks. I've made fingering weight socks. I honestly don't even remember everything I've done with this, but I'm making a pair of socks for Wyatt with the last skein of it and some leftovers. I used it, you kind of like it, I don't know, it's not a big contrast obviously, but I just grabbed some leftovers out of a bag to use for heels and toes, because I have quite a bit left of that. And it's funny, it's not like a huge contrast. But this one is through the heel. I have the gusset stitches picked up and just a few of the gusset decreases done. And then this one I'm still on the leg. So for these I'm just doing vanilla socks, 9-inch circulars. Wyatt asked for a longer leg on his socks, and I was so excited about that because typically for Eric, and then I've just been doing it for Wyatt as well because he's so easygoing, that the first pair I knit for him, I did the same leg length as Eric's, which he likes about 20 round cuff, 50 round leg. That seems to be like the spot where he's like, if I ask, he's like, yeah, I like that length. So when I started doing Wyatt's, I just started doing the same counts. And Wyatt's so easygoing, he's just like, yeah, that's fine. But lately, he's been like, I really think I want a longer leg. He's been wearing them with his cowboy boots, and he's like, I would like for them to come up further in my boot. He's like, my legs get cold. So I'm like, that makes me happy because I would love to knit even more, to have more to knit. So for this one, I did 25 rounds of knit 2 purl 2 ribbing for the cuff, and I'm doing, I think, a 70 round leg. 70 rounds, yes. I have my markers on there. I do have a tutorial that shows how and why I use all of those. But yeah, I have no clue what the leftovers are that I'm using. I think I knit socks for Eric with it, but I don't remember what it is. But these are for Wyatt. 9-inch circulars. I use ChowGoo US 0.2 millimeter is what I do for 9-inch because my gauge is looser on that small circular. This is also something for Wyatt, also in another Mountain State Stitches bag. And this is a scarf for him. I've not worked on this in a few days. This, it's just a garter stitch scarf. I had him try on Eric's Doctor Who scarf when it was done, and because he'd asked for a scarf. So I said, try this on and we'll kind of figure out what width you want, length, all of those things. So I cast on, I think, 31 stitches. I do have it on the project page. I'm using a US 5 3.75 millimeter. I think I have it on a 16-inch. And I'm just knitting every round. The last stitch of the row, I am slipping knitwise with the yarn in the back just to make a bit of a neater edge. I'm using the same yarn that I used for Eric's scarf. It is Wool of the Andes Sport Weight in the Forest Heather. So I'm using the same kind of yarn. This is one of the colors in Eric's scarf, but Wyatt wants the whole thing in this color. There's the label. So here's, I'll just try it on. Try it on me. Here's what we have so far. Still have a bit to go. He does want to be able to wrap it around, so I still have a bit to go. And I need to get it done because he could really use it right now while it's so cold outside. But it's a super simple project. This is what I've been working on mostly in the evenings. Eric and I usually sit down and watch, depending on how much time we have, 1 or 2 episodes of a show. So that's what I've been working on. I think I'm on my 3rd skein of yarn for that one, I think. Those are 50-gram skeins. All right, I did grab both of my Cozy Memories blankets to show you. So my DK weight one, I've added 1 square this year. That was with leftovers from this. And my DK weight one, I had worked on, I started this in 2023 and added some yarns that weren't from Advents, but then all of my Advents from 2023. All of my Advents from 2024. I added all of those in. Leftovers from like these 2 socks I finished in December. Those got added in. And I think I only have like 6 squares or something to go on this before I'm going to call it done and do the border on it. So now it's just when I finish a pair of socks, not self-striping. I'm not adding self-striping into this, but if I finish a pair of socks, I'm just adding it into this. This is both of these that you're going to see. They are the Coziest Memory by Kemper Ray is the pattern. It is linked on my project page. That's written for fingering weight. The next one I'll show you is fingering weight. This one is DK. I am using a different needle size. And again, all of this is on the Ravelry project page. I'm using a US 5 3.75 millimeter. These are Signature needles they are unfortunately no longer in business. And I'm doing 40 stitches for my squares. So let's see if I can scoot way back here. I still am not gonna be able to get it all in. So this right here up top is the row that I'm currently on. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I was right. I have 6 squares on that row, and I think this is the last row that I'm gonna do. And it's very heavy. It's so warm. I love working on it. I have kept up with weaving in all of my ends other than the outside edge. Once the square, like the spots surrounded, I then weave in those ends. But yeah, there's the back side. All ends are woven in except for the outside ones. So this one, just when I finish a pair of socks that's not self-striping, I've been adding the yarn into that now until it's done, and then I will do an I-cord border around the edge, and I do have a tutorial for that here on YouTube for how I do the I-cord border. All right, this is in a bag from Bags by Awesome Granny. My fingering weight one is in a bag from the Fat Squirrel. For this one, I'm also doing 40 stitches. And I have to say, it was so funny. I worked on that DK weight one all December, adding my Advents in. And then I decided after the first of the year, I was going to pull this one back out and work on it. And it was so funny, the change in like the size of the squares. It was, I don't know, it was just funny seeing how small these ones are compared to those. It felt weird to be working on it. So for the fingering weight one, I'm doing a 2.5 millimeter. Again, these are Signature needles. I have this huge bag of yarn. So this one, let's show it first. This one I am using all scraps. Like the DK weight one has some scraps from projects, but then Advent minis. This is all leftovers from socks or hats anything fingering weight that I have finished, I have put the leftovers in here. So when I have not pulled this out. I don't even know. Once the weather got warm, I put all of my Scrappy blankets up. So it's been a while, and I've just been adding a little, usually about 5 grams. Some of these are a little more, some maybe a little less, but usually about 5 grams I set aside because this takes 3 something, I think. I have it on the projects page. But yeah, I put it in this bag, set it aside, so I have a huge bag. Once I add my square in, anything that I have left, I put into a magic knot ball. And I will then add this into my crochet granny stripe blanket. So I have pulled this back out. I have been doing 2 squares a day. Yesterday I did a square on my DK one and a square on the fingering weight one. So I counted that as 2 squares, but I've been trying to do 2 squares a day on this fingering weight one. For my 30 minutes of knitting, we're doing a make along over in the Crazy Sock Lady YouTube memberships for 30 minutes of knitting a day. So on any project that you choose. Mine right now is Scrappy Blankets, and it's this one that I'm focusing on right now. So I've been doing 2 squares a day, which does take me over 30 minutes. It takes me about 20 to 25 minutes to do a square on my Cozy Memories blankets with 40 stitches. So yeah, it's a little over 30 minutes, but that's been my goal, 2 squares a day. Eventually, this one will be done too. I have no clue how many squares I have left to go. Typically when I start these, I don't set out with a total in mind. I just kind of go until I'm like, okay, I'm done. That's big enough. That's the size I like. With any of my Scrappy blankets, that's how I go into them. I've only finished one of these, but the DK weight one will hopefully be done within the next few months. That would be nice. I still have, as far as Scrappy blankets go, I have my crochet granny stripe blanket. I have a jelly roll blanket, fingering weight, and then a granny square blanket. That I can't remember how far I am on that. It's been so long since I've had these out, but these are kind of my focus 30 minutes a day projects right now. All right, is that it? I think that's it for my projects. I have a couple of things I got in the mail that I will show you. The first thing that I got in the mail is my Row 1 minis for January. And Row 1, if you're not familiar, is a mini skein subscription service. It is a different yarn dyer each month, and you get 10 gram minis from that yarn dyer. So this, for January, it is Pearl Talk, and oh my goodness, they are so pretty. They're still in the packaging. I like to keep them stored in the packaging in case I want to pull them and do scrappy socks with just these. Then they're still all together. I don't have to kind of dig through anything. That's one thing that's on that bottom shelf back here. Right over here. I have 3 months, 4 months maybe, of Row 1 minis. And I'm kind of thinking, I'm not sure how far I am on that granny square blanket. I said I have the scrappy one, but I might, when I pull that out, maybe use some of these to finish that up. But yes, these are so beautiful. So I do have a link down below for them with a discount code. So I will have all of that linked in the show notes below. I'm just remembering I did not get it out of here. I got my Yarnable. My Yarnable for January. So it is intergalactic. I have all the extras, but they are already dispersed throughout the house. And I gifted a few of the things that were in it. So anyways, this is the label. And Yarnable, if you're not familiar, is also a yarn subscription service. You can get one skein of fingering, one skein of DK. Like there's different ways you can customize this one. It's not mini skeins, but they have a new option. They are not open to new subscribers right now, I will say that. But what you want to do if you want the chance to sign up is follow the link below. It's in the description box, and put your email address in. When they have spots open up, they will email you. But they have a new option that I've switched to that is the no frills option. This is something that so many of you have told me over the years. I have been getting Yarnable since they first started, and y'all have said, I wish they would do an option with just the yarn. They are. I'm so excited about it. I love the extras, don't get me wrong. They are fun, but sometimes I get a little overwhelmed with all of my little notion-y bits because they can pile up. So I'm excited. For a while, I'm going to be doing the no frills option, and I will definitely share on Instagram and all the places if I see that spots are open to new subscribers. But I did switch over to that the other day. So I think my next one should be no frills, meaning just the yarn. So let's show the yarn. So I get one skein of fingering weight, which is their plush sock. It is such a nice squishy base. It is an 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon. And I've already got this caked up and ready to cast on. It's gonna get so blown out. This snow is just like, everything is so bright, but it's beautiful. I did split this. So I've been doing most of my socks when I make them. You'll have seen with Wyatt's socks. If you're new and you haven't been watching for a while, I cake up the yarn. I think I show this on my 2 at a time on Magic Loop sock tutorial, but I cake up the yarn, put it on a scale, weigh it, and say it's like 102 grams. I will then wind off until the scale says I'm at 51 grams and cut that and then do another cake. These look different sizes, but they're not. This one's just really loose for some reason. I don't know. But it's a beautiful, beautiful colorway. So I'm excited to get these started. They will be coming up very, very soon here. I also do have yarn in a bag upstairs with the pattern ready to cast on a pair of socks. Oh, before I talk about that, the Yarnable, there's a link and a coupon code down below for that also. But like I said, they're not always open to new subscribers, so just put your email in and they will let you know when spots open up. Yarn upstairs, ready to cast on Doctor Who TARDIS socks. I think the pattern's called Police Box Socks for Eric. I made him a pair years ago when we lived in North Carolina. I think I was doing the podcast at that point. But I made him that pair. He loves them so much, and he told me that they are like the one pair of socks that he hesitates to wear sometimes because he loves them so much that he doesn't want them to get a hole in them. So I'm like, well, I'll just make you another pair and then you have 2. I mean, heck, if you want me to make you 2 more pairs, then you will have 3. Like, if you love them that much, I will make you more. So I have all the stuff upstairs. His birthday is coming up, and I would love to gift those to him for his birthday. So I need to get those started. I've got a few things I want to work on and finish up. So we will see what all I can get done before I record next, which should be next week. It feels good to kind of start to get back into a routine. I did miss checking in with y'all and recording. I was still on Instagram. I just wasn't here on YouTube, but it feels good to sit down and catch y'all up on all the things. Goodness, there was so many. So I hope that y'all are doing well. I hope you enjoyed this catch up. And I will see you again next week. Until then, happy making and God bless. Bye.